Hey everyone, welcome back to the studio. It's Serica and I am starting a brand new bullet journal today. This is for a special project that's close to my heart. I've wanted to illustrate children's books ever since I was a little kid, and even though I'm very nervous, I've decided to start this year. It's a huge project and I'm a little bit afraid. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very afraid, and I have a lot of anxiety surrounding it, a lot of swirling thoughts, and it's preventing me from actually getting started. So I thought that making a bullet journal would help me mentally prepare and stay on track. While I set up my new bullet journal, I thought I would share some tips and tricks to making a dedicated bullet journal and maybe help you tackle a new idea or a new venture that you've wanted to try but you're a little afraid of starting. So whether you want to start a YouTube channel, open an online business, or whatever you want to do, I hope that these 5 bullet journal tips can help you to get started. Tip number 1, like I said, is to make a dedicated notebook for this project. So for this children's book, it's got a lot of different components to it, and I decided to use this Blackwing dot grid notebook for it. I have other planners, as you know, but they have a lot of other floating parts of my life in there, such as this YouTube channel or my personal life, different events and appointments. So I decided to just kind of compartmentalize all of the things I have to do for the book into this notebook. I think that helps me to keep myself organized in my mind. I don't know, it just kind of like is a little precursor to the actual project. Tip number 2 is to make a project checklist. Because making a children's book just seems like a very large and looming task, I decided that breaking it down into smaller tasks would be more manageable. I did this on a piece of paper first so that I could put the steps in the right order. And for my project, I did a little bit of research before I started. Generally, what you need for a children's book is all of these steps. And it's going to be a little different depending on, whether you're working alone or collaborating with someone else, whether you have a publisher or an agent, or you're self-publishing. So for my situation, these are the steps that I think are going to work for me. Of course, I don't know if this is going to change later on, but I just wanted to get a general sense of what I need to do and make a project checklist. Tip number 3 is to create a timeline and figure how much time you can dedicate to your project each day. So I am going to be spending a lot of time on this project, maybe a year. Trying to fit this within 1 year is like my goal. Of course, I also need to be a little bit flexible because I have a lot of other different things to balance, such as, of course, being a mom and having an online business. So I figure that on the weekdays, I have to take care of my son, primarily during the day, and then I work in the evenings or during nap times. But I've got weekends because my husband Sam takes care of Jaden, and then I can have 2 really solid work days. So I kind of use this page here to write my timeline and then kind of figure out what I can do on a daily basis. So whether that's drawing on my iPad for the book during nap times, even if it's just like 15 minutes a day, I just want to keep myself on track using this daily tracker. Number 4 is to get your doubts out of your head. I mentioned earlier that I'm a huge overthinker. I have a lot of anxiety surrounding this project, and even though it's very exciting and I'm very positive about it, I still can't help thinking about all these negative things. Like, for example, if it's not successful or if I can't deliver on the characters or if it's not good enough for my own standards, all of these doubts are in my head, and I just wanted to get them out of my head and onto paper. It was very cathartic for me to just write every little thing out. And even as I was writing it out, I realized that I was problem solving and responding to my inner critic. So instead of trying to like force it out of your head and ignore it, I tend to tackle those doubts head on and look my inner critic in the eye and say, hey, you know what, I understand why you're nervous. It's a big risk and it's a lot of time spent on a project, but I'm gonna do it anyway and see what happens. So thanks for keeping me safe, inner critic, but I'm gonna do it. So I wrote it all down, and then as I was brainstorming some solutions, I started to write that down as well. So just some things here and there that I had issues with, like what if I format it wrong? You know, these little problems haven't even come up yet and I'm already overthinking about it. So I just wrote that down and made a solution. So tip number 5 is to take that project checklist that you made in the beginning, which kind of works as your bullet journal index in a way, and break it down even further into smaller and smaller steps. That's for the rest of the pages in your bullet journal to make task lists and to brainstorm each step. So for example, I am going to break down my storyboard into different steps. I'm going to break down all of my rough sketches into different steps. And I feel like the smaller I make those steps, the easier it gets to tackle it. All right, instead of thinking about this whole thing, I'm gonna think about just page 1. And I think that is so much easier to tackle than thinking about it in such a large way. The more granular you get, the easier it is to tackle little bit by little bit. I can't show my actual storyboard or my sketches, but I thought it would be nice to show you guys my setup for my bullet journal and share my own strategies for facing my fears and alleviating some of these anxieties about starting a new project. I actually wasn't sure if I should even put this goal out there, because one of my doubts was like, what if this doesn't pan out and what if this whole thing falls through? Then I'll have made a whole video about it, talking about my dreams, and I can't even deliver. You know, even if that happens, I think that some of you may appreciate just the process of setting this bullet journal up, and I put it out there. I hope this helps someone out there in some way, and I hope all of you guys are doing well. Take care. Until the next video, happy journaling, happy art making, and I'll see you next time. Bye.